Welcome everyone to the Monica Brant Show. I'm your host, Monica, and joined here with Dyman Gemelli, my awesome co-host.
Great to be here. Cannot wait for this interview.
I know, right? He's sitting right here.
I'm getting nervous now. Yeah. I'm afraid of what you guys are going to ask me.
It's a Dave Palumbo sandwich. A day one, Olympia's 60th anniversary. This is a big event.
Yeah.
So excited to have you here, Dave. I know you're busy, and you've got a lot going on, a lot of fans. Legendary Dave Palumbo. So what's going on with you here at this Olympia, and how many times have you been to the Olympia now?
You know, I haven't counted and
stopped counting after 30.
Yeah. I've been to a lot of them. There was a few I missed. I'm not like one of these like J.M. Mannion's gone to them all, almost all of them or something like that. Or Jim Mannion's been to them all. Yeah. But you know, I've been to enough that I've got a flavor of it. You know, at different places, and I think Vegas is always the most exciting because there's just so much going on here. It's like it's Disneyland for adults, essentially.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Right. Well, I know, Dylan, your brain is over there with all the questions in the world for our Dave.
Yes.
First of all, do you have clients competing?
I don't have anyone in the show, which is kind of ironic because usually I do, but for some reason this year I don't. But I have a few people who did the amateur event.
Oh, great.
And so the amateur event here is actually it's probably bigger than the Olympia because they have like so many hundreds of people coming from all over the world, and to me, that's more exciting. So I have a lot of like international people coming in. I never thought I'd meet them, and then I'm like, going to the hotel room, checking them out, and they're like, oh, it's like something like you don't expect because nowadays you can work with people who live in Timbuktu, and it doesn't matter,
right?
Because you have your phone and you have you can text them, WhatsApp them, Instagram them,
right?
There's no lack of communication.
And then you've got all the lighting and everything everywhere. No matter where you are, people can show what they look like. They're not in like some dark little area taking a picture like it used to be.
When you and I competed, you had to send a Polaroid.
Exactly.
Oh goodness.
Okay, so I know we only got a limited time.
Yeah.
So when you and I were talking beforehand, we were talking about podcasting, how it kind of started, how there was very little. Talk to me about how you've been able to stay so relevant so long, and I know it's a battle because then you got younger guys that want to take shots and disagree with somebody that has been doing it long enough that knows. So for you, how have you stayed relevant, and how do you battle against the younger generations?
It's a good question. First of all, I'm an Aquarian. I'm not a big horoscope guy, but I have to constantly be doing creative stuff or I'll go out of my mind. So when I was originally hired by Muscular Development magazine in 2006 to do their website, they didn't have a website.
Right.
And we wanted to have a podcast. It was called a radio show back then.
Exactly.
But it was an internet radio show. You had to call into a call center. You couldn't do it yourself because it was so hard.
Yeah.
The technology wasn't there. So we had what was called Noble Radio.
Yeah.
I worked for them for 3 years, and then I went to RX Muscle with John Romano, and we started Heavy Muscle Radio. And I had just figured out how to do it in my house by myself. So we actually had two radio shows, were only audio, that no one else had anywhere because it was so hard to do. I had an audio guy who worked for a radio station, and he rigged up something for me, and we would record them and we would post them up there. And no one had that. And then, I said I really want. One of the reasons why I didn't get along at Muscular Development is I wanted to start a TV show. I wanted a video podcast, and it was impossible to do.
Right.
I said, I don't know how to do it, but I said, we have to do it. I said, we got to build a TV studio. And Steve Black was like, no, there's no business model for this. I said, well, let's create the business model.
Yes.
So when I left, it was the best thing that happened to me because then I built this. John Romano actually built the studio in Westbury, New York, Long Island, New York, in my Species Nutrition warehouse. And I found some guys that did TV, and they were like young guys and hungry, and they taught me how to do it, and they didn't last because they were not as serious as I was, but I learned how to do it from them, and so we started doing it, and we were doing a TV show called Heavy Muscle TV.
I love it.
And no one had that. And then YouTube comes along, and everyone starts doing on YouTube and social media and doing Instagram stuff, and I said, well, then we got to put it, because we were hosting everything on rxmuscle.com.
Yeah.
I said, we got to go into YouTube because YouTube is now paying. I said, that's going to be the new place. So what I always did was try to stay ahead of the curve. Whatever the newest thing was, although I refused to go on TikTok, but other than that, I've basically embraced every other social media medium, and I've evolved and changed the business model.
Yeah.
Originally it was people paying us sponsorship money, but now YouTube pays me.
Right.
Revenue for monetization. I still have sponsors, old school, but, House of Pain. But what we have is the ability to have multiple streams of income now. And so I just keep recreating. And you know, we always covered bodybuilding shows,
right?
But the coverage changed. I used to go to every show. Now I only target the big shows. And the good thing is you can watch a live stream at home and you can cover it from home
exactly.
too. So yeah, you know, but most of these guys, these young guys, are in their basement at home. They're antisocial. They don't go out. They don't go to shows. So when Dave Palumbo shows up at the Olympia, people get all excited because they want to see the excitement that I'm exhibiting, and they can live vicariously through that. So I try to give them, you know, my bird's eye view of what's going on, and no one can duplicate that. And then, you know, then you get the guys, like you said, take shots
all
at,
the
like,
time.
Information, because everyone thinks they're a guru now. Everyone thinks that they've done one show, someone wrote them a diet, and now they have that diet, and they're going to give it to everyone. So, you know, I have an extensive medical background. I went to medical school for 3 years. I've been doing this for a long time, so I have experience. I did it myself, plus I have the educational background. So when people try to take shots at me, all I have to do is go on there, show them that they're wrong, and say, let's debate.
Yeah.
Send me the questions, come on, and then everyone's super quiet, never hear from them again after that.
And that's how it is now with being able to hide and not coming and saying things.
Right, but when you call people out, they either have to put up or shut up, and no one's going to debate me on a show. So I usually shut those people out very quickly, you know.
And that's how I found you initially. On RX Muscle. I was working for us when I got started. I was working for a supplement company that advertised on the forums.
Oh, that's so funny!
And they were teaching me to. They were trying to make me be a YouTuber before anybody was really doing it, aside from like you.
Right.
And that's how I got started.
Well, the funny thing was in 2002. I was dating a girl, Colette Nelson, who was a bodybuilder, and she was doing websites for people. No one had websites. She said, you got to have a website. I'm like, what the hell's a website?
Yeah.
So I bought the URL, DavePalumbo.com, and because I was going to all the shows with all my clients and I was competing myself, I would just take pictures with a throwaway camera. Remember those throwaway cameras?
Yes, the disposable.
I developed the film, and I had a scanner at home. I'd scan the pictures, and we would put them on my website, DavePalumbo.com, and all of a sudden I noticed the judges, everyone was checking my website. I was getting ridiculous traffic because there was no social media.
Right.
There was no Instagram, Facebook.
Right.
So
Right.
I realized, wait a second, this is something that
there's something here.
There's something here.
Yes.
So I mean,
That's
people
awesome.
want to know what's going on. Most people won't leave their houses.
I know.
But if they can pull that phone out and see what's going on in 3 seconds, they love it.
Comfort of their own
Absolutely.
home. So Dave, you look very healthy.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look great. Your skin, your eyes. I mean, you look
thank you.
really healthy. So what are you doing right now for yourself as far as maintaining your health and staying conditioned, because you're in incredible condition as always?
I'm a greasy Italian, so that's
Me too.
keeps my skin
That's-
moisturized all the time.
guys.
We don't have to put any moisturizer on.
Nope,
You
nope.
We
guys.
just sweat. We just grease comes out of us natural. No, but you know, I went through a lot. I had some little health issues. I had 2 shoulder replacements in 18-19. I had my thyroid removed because I had like a thyroid nodule. Turned out to be cancerous, but luckily that was fine. Then I had an ankle surgery.
I think that's when I was praying for you. That was recent, right? I remember praying for you.
And then I had an ankle surgery, and then I had an aorta that I found out because I went for routine diagnostic testing that was enlarged. And after 3 years of them watching it, they wanted to fix it. So I had to have like a partial open heart.
Oh
They
my
fixed my
gosh.
aorta. I went down to 180 pounds because basically what I was doing is I was training for 3 months for the next surgery. I was gonna
Right,
get.
of
It was
course.
like one surgery after the next and after the next and the next. So
Yeah.
knock on wood, for the last year and a half, everything's been good. I feel good. I'm strong. You know, but I think a lot of the stuff we go through in life is to show that you can show other people that you can go through a lot of crap and still come out of it smiling, in a good, positive mood. It's not a good excuse not to work out, not to eat right. I never got fat. You know, I always stayed lean.
Yeah.
I continued. I was doing podcasts from my hospital bed.
Nice.
Because
I remember.
People need to know that, you know, there's no excuse to not do what you're passionate about and what you like to do. And if people see that, they're going to feel stupid saying, you know what, I don't want to go to the gym because my nose is running today.
Exactly.
You know, so it's motivation. It's
All right,
motivation.
and I'm going to ask, you know, like a standard question.
All right.
How do you, because I know a lot of people want to know, and, you know, I started, okay, I'm 53 now and haven't competed in 8 years, so I've had to kind of figure out what works for me and how do I want to eat and how do I want to train and what, you know, for just me personally versus, you know, me for my business and all of that. So it's been a little learning game because, you know, 20-something years competing and I'm constant in this industry. So, and for a while there, I kept hearing maybe we didn't need as much protein growing older, right? because I wasn't listening to the bodybuilding, kind of listening to some other longevity and different type of health professionals. Then I got back into kind of listening to more bodybuilding again, and I'm like, no, we actually need more protein now as we're getting older. So I am making sure to get my protein in, but is that what you would say is true too as we're getting older, that we still need that 1 gram of 1 gram of protein per pound?
I think if you're not trying to put on size, you probably can get away with less protein than you think.
Yeah.
Because the less protein you eat, the more efficiently your body uses it. Mm-hmm. It's like it knows it's desperate. They're not feeding us that much. We better use everything that we're feeding. Because a lot of the protein we eat gets converted to energy, gets converted to carbs, and it gets metabolized, because you can only use so much per meal. Obviously, the bigger you are, the more you can use. But if I'm 215 pounds now, I certainly don't need to eat as much protein as I was eating when I was 300 pounds. So
no.
I think that 1 gram per pound is a nice and spread out.
Yeah.
Because people think they can eat it in 2 meals, so that's just not the way it's going to go.
Or the OMAD, 1 meal a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's okay for a certain time.
Yeah. I do
not on all the time.
I do Chris Angel's Night, the musician, the magician, and we've known each other for years. And he's doing this 1 meal a day, and I'm trying to get. And he's like losing so much lean mass.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with this. If you want to live a long time, yes, intermittent fasting works.
It can help me.
But if you want to look good, because you're going to lose all your muscle mass.
Yeah.
And people think that they do the intermittent fasting, they pretend they want to live a long time, but they really think they're going to lose weight doing
Exactly.
it. So what they do is, but they don't understand, when you don't eat, your metabolism goes to zero.
Yep.
And that's why they walk around freezing cold all day long. So you're not going to burn fat if you're not eating all day. So the best way to look good is to eat small meals frequently throughout the day. And it's never going to change, no matter who comes up with the next guru, insanity. It's never going to change. It's small, high-protein meals spread out throughout the day, good essential fats, don't overdo the carbs.
I've been saying this since college when I started learning about it, and I was like, I don't care what you say when it's changing with all this stuff that you're coming out with. This works.
The thing that you shouldn't do when you get older is eat too many carbs.
Right.
Because your pancreas, your beta cells, can't produce enough insulin. So your insulin production kind of amps down a little bit. So if you can reduce your carbs a little, maybe raise your good fats a little bit, you'll notice that you have better blood sugar control, and you'll be a lot healthier.
Well, I'm feeling I have been doing, I don't want to say strict carnivore, but some days that's just kind of what I'm doing, and maybe adding a little like avocado or some butter, whatever. But
it's just like a ketogenic diet.
And I've actually really enjoyed that because number one, it's kind of nice sometimes not to have a bunch of food to prepare. Right? And sometimes it's just like I get tired of just the preparation and the deal, but then sometimes I have my little sweet potatoes and I'm good. So it's kind of nice to be able to do both.
Women get away with that. I have such a fast metabolism, but if I don't eat some carbs, I start disappearing. So, and I start getting like crazy. So what I do now, and I've said this on podcasts, I actually take a long-acting insulin every night.
Really?
As almost like replacement, like you would take like a testosterone, testosterone, because it works in the background. And because I was waking up with slightly high blood sugars, not high, 96, 98.
Yeah.
Now the doctors would tell you that's normal, but it's really not. You want to be under 90.
And
so
Agreed.
I said, you know what? I can get myself under 90, but I have to eat low carbs. So I'm like, I don't need to eat low. I have no body fat, so I take a long-acting insulin at night, and I can eat whatever I want, and it keeps my blood sugar. I wake up with blood sugars in the 80s. And
that's awesome.
And you know what? My hemoglobin A1C, which is your 3-month average blood sugar, is like 5.3, which is really low.
Awesome.
A lot of people our age, if you take, you're younger, but if you take your A1C, you'll find it starts creeping up 5.6, 5.7, 5.8. That's too high. And over the long course of the next 10 and 15 years, you will accumulate damage in your brain, your extremities, your eyes, your kidneys, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it happens, and it can cause dementia and kidney disease and eye loss. It's not worth it.
I agree.
think the future of like longevity is going to be insulin replacement, so that you don't have high blood sugars.
Yes, and one of the things that I battle with as people is they don't monitor blood work enough.
Nothing.
They act like they're put out to do it, or it's too much money or this or that, and I'm like, you can't put a price on your health.
Walmart sells a blood sugar monitor for $9.
Yes.
Yes.
How could you not test your fasting blood sugar in the morning for $9?
I mean, that's at least one thing.
Yeah.
I've been doing that little pricking your finger for years.
Yes.
You get a little addicted to it, though.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
oh, how do I? Oh, wait, I
It's
wanna do
data.
this.
It's
Yeah.
data.
Yes.
We love data as
Yeah.
bodybuilders.
Absolutely.
You know? So.
That's what we thrive on.
How about a blood? You can go on any Amazon for $15 and get an auto-inflate blood pressure
Yep.
cuff.
I did it.
Why wouldn't you know your blood pressure for $15? You know,
Yeah.
come on.
It's amazing.
awesome.
People just have their head in the sand. That's why. you know.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of education, Olympia University, are you familiar with that?
Yes.
I know they didn't get as much coverage here, but
No, I know you were doing that, aren't you?
well, Dylan actually.
Yeah,
is
I'm doing
in
it,
on
yep.
and I
I'll be
just know
tomorrow,
Michael,
too.
so
Okay.
I
I
don't
do
know.
the TRT tomorrow
Oh,
at
cool.
noon and 1 here. So
It's upstairs.
there's
right?
one that's on the stage.
I would
at
go,
noon
but I'm
and
going
then
to be
one
at
at
Dr.
1.
Bob has that Hall of Fame ceremony tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think 12,
yeah.
Well, maybe at some point we should try to get you and Michael
Yeah.
connected for that
Yes.
university, one of the different locations.
That would be
be
fun.
awesome
Yeah, that would
to
be
have
really
you.
fun.
Right?
Yeah,
I
it
love
would.
it. Yeah.
Dave, 60th anniversary for the Olympia. What does it mean to you that it's gone this long and it's this big?
Well, I think it means it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
I hope I get to see the 100th one. It might not happen. It might happen.
100th one. I can't even think about that. 40 years from now.
We'll be old.
If we're
and
still
gray.
here, if we're still here on this
yeah,
earth,
yeah,
right?
yeah. God willing.
We're not
But-
up on Mars or
Right,
something.
God willing, we might still be up. You know, we might not know what's going on.
Exactly.
But if they wheel me in like Ed Corney, you know, when he, at the end of his life, you know, for the 100th anniversary, I would very. You know what? It's nice to see bodybuilding growing.
Yep.
And money coming into the sport. You know, I think in the next 5 years we're going to see $1 million first prize for the Olympia,
That would
which
be
would be
awesome,
great.
yeah.
We're seeing routinely now other shows pop up at $100,000 first prizes. You know, even the
that's
women
awesome.
are getting a lot more money thanks to Jake Wood. So,
Shoot, I have to come
think-
back for the more money.
Yeah, yes.
Come back to the
I
Masters.
think you should do Masters.
I know.
Masters Olympia in Japan. There's a
Oh,
whole
gosh.
new bunch of people who can follow you, Monica, right there.
Oh, my.
All the Japanese fans that don't know you. But the truth is that there is more sport, more opportunities, and for Masters.
Right.
And I think that that's good for, it keeps people motivated.
Goals,
it
too.
gives you a goal to
Right.
shoot
Yeah.
for.
Right.
And, I love to see the sport grow.
So
Absolutely.
the guy I was telling you about from Brazil earlier, Fernando,
Yes.
he has a client at 71. He showed me his picture, and he's 4-time world NABA champion
Right.
at 71. I
Yeah.
was like, he looks amazing. And so he does the old school training, like in
Oh,
education
nice.
down
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So anyways, I think, yeah, you're right. It's good to have the goals. So I guess we got to wrap this up because we know you have a lot more people to see and babies to kiss and hands to shake.
Yeah. Babies to kiss. But speaking of babies, I was eating with one of my former clients at a sushi bar, and he had a 6-month-old baby.
Oh,
and the baby
man.
wouldn't go to anyone, but
But
now,
Oh,
now that
yeah.
I'm a parent, I have the magic, the magic touch now.
Yes.
So I was able to take the
I
6-month-old,
love it.
and he was like,
How sweet.
that was good.
Awesome to see you. Thank you for
Thank you
joining
for
us
inviting
here
us.
in the Monica Brant
Thanks a
Show.
lot, man.
Great seeing you.
Thank you so much.
Monica. Good seeing you always.
Nice to see
And you
you.
always look beautiful, so.
Thank you. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining here. Make sure you find Dave Palumbo on all the things. 'Cause-
RxMuscle.com,
Yes.
SpeciesNutrition.com,
Yeah. I mean, he's everywhere, so if you don't
and I
find
breed
him,
and I breed snakes. Don't forget too. so.
breed snakes. If you need a snake, go to Dave.
Dude.
That's a whole nother
That's right.
conversation. All right, guys, thanks for joining. We'll see you again here soon. Bye.
Thank you.
StemRegen is professionally formulated for athletes for enhanced recovery, improved microcirculation, and smart cellular signaling. I attribute being an athlete to all of the years of this incredible journey I've had in the health and fitness industry. I'm Monica Brant, 30-year health educator and encourager. Having added StemRegen into my program for the last year, I've been able to maintain the level of intense exercise that I demand on myself. Thanks to StemRegen, I am unleashing my regenerative potential.